Hey folks, we're starting a new series called The Game That Changed My Life. It's going to explore games and how they impacted people's lives using their own words if we can. And we're going to stick with Death Stranding since our last video was about Death Stranding. So in my last video talking about why you should play Death Stranding, one of the biggest reasons was it's a Strand game. A game that Hideo Kojima said is specifically designed to make you think about your connection with other people. And so when I was researching for this video, I found a couple reviews that really talked about this point, so I would like to share them with you now. The first one's from Heather Alexandra at Kotaku, who wrote, "During my time reviewing Death Stranding, I had a relationship fall into disrepair. That my most valued personal connection frayed while playing a game that is ultimately about the bonds that we make was not lost to me. Time and time again in Death Stranding, I wandered through harsh red deserts and snow-capped peaks with the mission of bringing people together. I crossed bridges left by strangers, trusting that the paths they had laid would bring me to where I needed to go. Outside of the game, I was lost. What does it mean for a connection to unravel like an old rope bridge across a ravine? What does it take to rebuild one? I don't have answers to this." Death Stranding didn't provide them. Instead, it insists on a simple idea, that we are made strong by the grace and, more beautifully, the chance of others, that we travel on roads of others who went before us, leaving our own marks that ultimately affect the path that those behind us take. So I just want to share that with you. I thought it was pretty elegant, a way of explaining what the game does. I mean, it really makes you think about connections with other people in an interesting way, because you never really see the people because it's asynchronous multiplayer, but they affect your world and you affect theirs, and it's I think it's that dissonance, that juxtaposition between aloneness and connection that really makes you think about what you've lost. Its absence makes the heart grow fonder. The second story I want to share about this particular subject, about connections, comes from YouTuber Cohesive Friendship Unit, in which he wrote a review about Death Stranding as well. You can find on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description below. And he basically says that it made him more likely to respond to, I guess, relative strangers or acquaintances in real life. So, for example, if he's at a party, he meets somebody and they say, "Oh, we should reconnect." Usually when someone says that, you might say, yeah, I'll do it. But you don't really get around to it. I mean, you're not seriously planning on it. I mean, it's just something you say, I guess. In this case, he actually stopped and said, "No, I actually will contact this person." And they were able to forge a stronger bond that way. So that's one aspect. He also mentions how, in the game, at least, when he was going along, there's a point where they make you backtrack like a huge section, like pretty much half the map. And, you could be like, "Oh man, I'm just going to rush through this and just rush back." But he actually took the time to build things and help people finish their projects and sort of make it easier for the next person who can go through that route too. And that sort of translated to real life too, that he said he became more helpful. He was looking for more opportunities to be more helpful. So how does a game like Death Stranding have this effect on people? When I thought about it, I could think of a few reasons. The first is if you approach games as a life experience as opposed to just a pastime. In that case, if you're spending tens or hundreds of hours in the game helping people, then that could very well build a new habit that translates to real life. The other reason the game works comes down to hope versus expectations. So in Death Stranding, there's no obligation to help others and no expectation they will help you. For the most part, it plays like a single-player game. But people can and often do help you, and it's always gratifying to find a well-placed shelter or safe house, and you just have this real positive feeling inside, and you want to help others when you have the chance. It's just natural, I guess. Maybe it's human nature. There's something to be said about living life full of hope as opposed to expectations. So, for example, if you hope for something and it happens, you feel really happy. And if it doesn't happen, you're disappointed, but you understand, so you maybe feel neutral, like zero. It just seems a more positive way to look at the world and experience the world, like a path toward happiness, I suppose. And contrast that with what most of us do, unfortunately, what society trains us to do, is to live by expectations. So, if something happens and you don't it's not what you expected, you feel really negative about it. So why didn't that happen that way? Or fine, that person didn't help me, I'm not going to help them. And then if it happens, you're just satisfied. You're like, fine, that's what I expected. So you feel like zero. And the only way to be happy, it seems to be to have your expectations blown away. And, our expectations are keep increasing. So the chances of it being blown away, like how often does that happen? It just seems like happiness is such a rare thing because of the way we've chosen to approach life. Just food for thought, I suppose. That's it for today. Like, comment, or subscribe if you want. Every little bit helps. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.